And the Iranian people are going to be free. The Israelis are going to be safe. The world's going to be safe. No thanks to the UN, no thanks to the UN, and most of all, no thanks to the Democrats. I say this to the Democrats. Bring it on, baby. You don't know what you're dealing with. We, the American people, we've had it up to here with you. Issue your press releases. Go on your TV shows. And by the way, quickly, when did Tom Massey become the mouthpiece for the Republican Party? He's a non-entity. He's a radical libertarian. I keep hearing, Tom Massey says, Tom Massey says. He doesn't represent me. He's an irrelevancy.
One of the most important speakers of our generation is the great Mark Levin. Let's listen to what he has to say about the evils of Iran and the Democratic Party that seem to be the enemy of the United States of America. But I'd like to hear what you have to say about this, so don't forget to leave your comments below. Of course, subscribe to this great channel, and we'll talk to you on the other end of the video.
You know, Mark, you were on the show last night, and we were talking about the difference between President Trump and some people on the left. And President Trump has this very keen sense of history. You are a historian. And we talked about the last century and Mao in China and Stalin in Russia and Hitler in Germany and Mussolini and fascism and Tojo in Japan and Pol Pot in the killing fields. And I think through the prism of history, Donald Trump, in this last 21 hours, is going to be judged as having seen the world at its potential worst if this regime, this Nazi fascist regime, ever would have achieved their goal, their ambition of nuclear weapons. And I want to get your thoughts specifically on that.
Donald Trump did what nobody else could do for half a century. How do you like that? And you know why he did it? Because he loves his country. You know why he did it? Because he's humane. He saw people slaughtered and he wanted to put an end to it. That's why he did it. Now, it's time that we Americans have to come to grips with something. We have a party in this country, the Democrat Party, that hates the country. Here we are in the middle of a spectacular, humane peace mission where people were being slaughtered. They were being slaughtered right up to the minute we attacked them. We've been talking about it. They've slaughtered our soldiers. They've slaughtered our citizens, our embassy personnel. They come into our country and try and assassinate people. They're the biggest promoters of terrorism, and the Democrats immediately, knee-jerk, they defend the terrorists, like to defend the illegal aliens and the criminals. There's something wrong with that party, that at a time we should be celebrating the most spectacular military act I've ever seen, Khomeini's gone in 20 hours? While their president, Biden, was funding the Iranians billions of dollars, while Obama was paving the way for them to have nuclear weapons, Donald Trump loves this country. He knows right from wrong. And we've had a real psyop going on in this country for 10 years against this man, where they try and pretend he's the authoritarian, he's the dictator. No, they are. They talk about the War Powers Act of 1973. Anybody who is a serious constitutional lawyer knows that act is unconstitutional. I see all these lawyers writing these pieces like they're smart. They're dumb. And every administration, Republican and Democrat, has questioned it. But they haven't brought it to the Supreme Court because neither the Congress or the president wants a resolution. When you have Schumer, who's basically sliding and walking and weaving, all of a sudden he's excited because he can cripple our armed forces in the middle of a war that they're winning. That's what Schumer's doing. Schumer, who supported the Obama nuclear plan, and they would have nuclear weapons today. That's Schumer. Then I see these other people say, Trump hasn't made the case. Trump hasn't made the case. He made the case in 8 minutes. Overwhelming. But why do we need anybody to make the case? Do you have eyes? Do you have ears? Are you an American citizen? Do you know what this regime's been doing? Do you know what it's done to our soldiers? Do you know what it's done to our citizens? Do you know we have people without limbs, without faces, without eyes? As a result of that regime, what do you mean we haven't made the case? Are you really that stupid? And I think they are. But that party hates this country. I love when they wave around the Constitution. They hate the Constitution. They use it to attack it. They believe that illegal aliens are citizens. They believe that terrorists should be given the benefit of the doubt. Listen, if they had their way, Donald Trump would have sent Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth and others to go to Congress and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to attack them at 3 a.m. We're going to use these kinds of forces. We're going to work with the Israelis. This is what we're going to do. Now tell the other 530 members of Congress what we're going to do. Wow, nobody would leak that. Would they, Bernie Sanders and AOC and Tlaib? Of course not. Let me tell you what the founders of this country believed. They changed the word from making war in the first draft of the Constitution to declaring war. They specifically took that out because they don't want the Chuck Schumers of the world making decisions. The only person in Washington, D.C. who's elected by all the people, other than the vice president, is the president of the United States. Chuck Schumer's elected from New York. Bernie Sanders is elected from Vermont. They wanted the commander-in-chief to be elected by the entirety of the nation. And they're even talking about impeaching him if they take the House of Representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an enemy within, and it is the Democrat Party. Every reprobate, miscreant, and malcontent is in that party. The Marxists and the Islamists are in that party. Do they act like they love the nation? Do they? When we have men and women in uniform, Democrats and Republicans and independents, fighting an enemy, fighting terrorists, the greatest terror regime in the world history, and we're winning. And that's why they're going nuts. We're winning. This is so spectacular what's taking place. And I want our troops to know something. These people who are trying to undermine you, they are a small percentage of the population. We red-blooded Americans, we love victory. And we love you. You are of us. And most of us have had relatives, if not ourselves, in the military. Chuck Schumer means nothing to us. Hakeem Jeffries means nothing to us. You, Mr. and Mrs. America, we support our military. We support our commander-in-chief. We support victory. This is a spectacular military operation with our spectacular ally, the Israelis, with their spectacular prime minister. It's working. It's effective. It's spectacular. And these guys, we have to hurry back to Congress. We need to have a vote on the War Powers Act of 1973. This would be the same party that dragged us into Vietnam, right? Was that a declared war? No, it wasn't a declared war. And I could go on and on and on about the hypocrites in that party. It's their president that was about to hand nuclear weapons to this enemy. It's their president who handed them billions of dollars in cash and so forth. This president isn't going to put up with it, and he hasn't. God bless our president. God bless the Prime Minister of Israel. And one last thing, as quickly as I can. All those poor people who died on October 7th, all those hostages who were taken and raped and tortured and murdered and brutalized, this is for you. All of those Americans who are walking around without arms or legs, they're in wheelchairs, have died. All of those people who died in our embassies, all those people who've died from their terrorist acts, this is for you. And this is retribution. And you know what? We Americans like retribution, especially when it comes to dealing with terrorists. Khomeini is dead. He's not 6 feet under. He's in hell. He's got a river of blood on his hands. And the Iranian people are going to be free. They're going to be free. America's going to be safe. The Israelis are going to be safe. The world's going to be safe. No thanks to the UN, no thanks to Europe, and most of all, no thanks to the Democrats. I say this to the Democrats. Bring it on, baby. You don't know what you're dealing with. We, the American people, we've had it up to here with you. Issue your press releases. Go on your TV shows. And by the way, quickly, when did Tom Massey become the mouthpiece for the Republican Party? He's a non-entity. He's a radical libertarian. I keep hearing, Tom Massey says, Tom Massey says. I don't give a damn what Tom Massey has to say. He doesn't represent me. He's an irrelevancy. He will be a footnote to a footnote to a footnote in history if he's a footnote at all. That's it. I'm done.
Great one. Mark Levin, the Supreme Leader, dead. 40 of the top leaders, dead. Donald Trump made that happen. Consequential, transformational. This goes back to Jimmy Carter in 1979. And Donald Trump was the one that had the courage, the conviction, the moral clarity, along with the Prime Minister of Israel, to get this done. And the world, Mark, you're right, is a safer place.
Well, there he is again, the great Mark Levin, talking about the incredible dangers of the Iranian government. I'm here reporting live in Israel. We've been under bombardment for the last 48 hours. They attacked a synagogue. Over 9 people were killed in a city near Jerusalem. A few hours ago, another synagogue was hit. People were hit on the street. This is a very dangerous and ongoing session. And it's a remarkable experience being in and out of the bomb shelters every few hours here to see what Israelis really experience almost on a daily level right now. And I can attest on a personal level, hearing the bombs, hearing the missiles, watching the violence happening across Israel. Iran is an extremely evil empire that needs to be defeated at all costs. It's not just a danger to the Jewish people, the state of Israel. It's a danger to people all around the world. For 47 years, the mullahs of Iran have run that country as a dictatorship, an Islamo-fascistic dictatorship, murdering its people. They've killed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people over the last 47 years. They've tortured, beheaded, they've cut off people's hands, they've tortured women by throwing acid in their face for they're not dressed properly. This is a dangerous Islamo-fascist state, which started in 79 during an Islamic takeover, a revolution in the country. There's no proper elections here. These are faux elections. They have elections just to show the world they have elections, but it's run by the evil mullahs. And worse than that, for 47 years, every morning in their schools, I've met Iranians who have told me personally, they wake up and say, "Death to America," and "Death to Israel." Now let's take a look at their actual behaviors. Their actual behaviors are they're looking to build nuclear weapons by enriching uranium to the levels that they don't really need. Why don't they need uranium? Because they're one of the richest oil countries in the world with unlimited resources. And look at what they've done. They've created a hunger and lack of water in the country and rampant inflation. The country's literally out of control. People can't get food. And therefore, they use their money, instead of improving the lives of their people, they use all their money to support their proxy terror organizations like Hezbollah that's just declared war against Israel just a few minutes ago. Or they support organizations like Hamas, which is responsible for the death of thousands and thousands of people, not only here, but around the world. And of course, they also support the Houthis, which are trying to choke the Straits of Hormuz and stop international trade in oil flowing from the Middle East to the West and to the East as well. This is a very dangerous government. They believe that they have to export the revolution to countries around the world. Maduro, that was just arrested by the United States recently. Venezuela was a partner of the Iranians. All these evil organizations not only affect what's happening in the Middle East, they're deeply affecting what's happening in countries in South America. Why would they want to do that? Because they want to attack the United States from its southern flank, and that happened until Donald Trump arrested the dictator Maduro. They hang out with the worst and most dangerous cartels and drug lords around the world, spreading violence and hatred against anybody around them. In fact, the Gulf states have been the worst hit. They just hit the UAE, they hit Bahrain. They're hitting everywhere they can get. They also fired one of their missiles at Cyprus recently, I think today or yesterday. It's unbelievable what's going on. This is an evil regime that has to be defeated at all costs, ladies and gentlemen. They've spread their hatred, they spread their terror around the world. But there's another party which agrees with them and does not stop them. That's the Democratic Party in the United States. The Democrats are not something that my parents' generation would recognize anymore. The Democratic Party used to be a greater party in the United States, where there's centrists and even conservatives. Right now, the Democratic Party has become unrecognizable. It's being led by people like AOC, Zoran Mamdani, Ilhan Omar. These are people that really don't have the best interests of the United States. They've never really worked a day in their life to produce money, to manage wealth, to spread industry. Instead, they want to take more entitlements for this country. They want to take the country on a road to socialism and now to communism with Zoran Mamdani. They actually hate their own people. They don't believe in real human rights, and it's really obvious. We can see this now. For the last few months, there's been this revolution. Millions of people demonstrating in desperation who have been taken over by the mullahs of Iran for 47 years, tortured, beaten up, abused, massacred in certain instances. And what they're doing is just rising up for their freedom. And there's millions of people around the world, mostly Iranians, Christians, and Jews, demonstrating for the people of Iran. But there's one there's one party that doesn't really support Iran. That's the Democratic Party today. They truly do not support the free people of the world. They want to keep in power people like dictators. You could hear crickets right now if you listen carefully from the Democratic Party. They're supposed to be a party of human rights, of liberation, of social welfare, but the human rights of millions of people in Iran, up to 90 million people, have been controlled by the mullahs of Iran for the last 47 years. You hear nothing about this. Absolute silence when it comes to Israel-Palestine issues. Every few minutes, genocide, genocide, genocide. But the real perpetrators of genocide are the Iranians. They're colonialists. They've been colonizing the Middle East. They support Hezbollah in Lebanon. They support the Houthis. They support Hamas. What about the colonialists, the real colonialists, which are the Iranians, the Islamofascist Iranians? What about the fact that these people are killing Americans, that they've tried to assassinate Donald Trump twice, that they're exporting terror to different countries? This is what their intentions are, to enrich uranium to the point where they're going to build weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapons. And we know they already have some of the missiles to deliver these weapons of mass destruction. Their missiles reach over 1,000 miles, supposedly, towards Western Europe. And we know this because Israel's been absorbing about 1,000 missiles have been fired or have been destroyed over the last 24 hours or 48 hours. We know that their intent is to murder people. When they shoot missiles, they are shooting at civilian targets. They're going after soft targets. They're going after synagogues, going after hospitals and schools. Israel, on the other hand, targets military installations. They're trying to stop the military, not the civilian population, because we know that the great people of the Persian people are a great nation. We're not at war. America and Israel are not at war with the Persian people. We're now at war with the mullahs of Iran that intend to destroy the West through subversion, through terror, and through nuclear weaponization, and delivering that through their horrific ballistic missiles. We're seeing this almost every day. I've listened to rockets exploding near where I'm living right now because they are shooting missiles at civilian territory. They also hit next to the Holy Temple of Jerusalem, the Western Wall. The temple, a missile just fell there today. I think it was disarmed, but we saw the smoke rising out from where it fell from. So thank God we have people like Mark Levin that are speaking up for liberty, for truth, and his great friend Sean Hannity on Fox News, and making sure that people understand what the real dangers of the world are and the real dangers of the Democratic Party are. But of course, I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. So don't forget to leave your comments below. And of course, subscribe to this great channel, and we'll see you in future great videos.